स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। Om Namo Narayana. We shall commence our Bhagavad Gita study with chanting of 2 meditation verses of Bhagavad Gita. There is humming. Can you reduce the humming, please? I request all of you to chant this meditation verses. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Puranamunina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba Tvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim. Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. In the last session, we had almost completed this 27th verse, the discussion of it. Today, we will take up the chanting of 28th verse of the first chapter, that is, Arjuna is telling Lord Krishna, Drishtvevam Swajanam Krishna Yuyutsum Samupasthitam Sidanti Mama Gatrani mukhancha parishishyati. So we will take up this verse and then go forward. The 28th verse. Arjuna vacha drishtvevam svajanam Krishna yujutsam samupasthitam Sidanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishishyati. Please repeat the verse after me. Arjuna vacha drishtvevam svajanam Krishna Drishtvevam svajanam Krishna Yujutsum samupasthitam Sidanti mama gatrani Mukham cha parishishyati. Arjuna uvacha. Arjuna said or told. To whom? To Lord Krishna. Drishtva, having seen. Svajanam, imam means these. Svajanam, kinsman. Swa means my own, or jana means people. So kinsman. Krishna, O Lord Krishna. Yujutsum, who are eager to fight. Samupasthitam, arrayed in the battlefield. Looking at them who are ready to fight. What is happening to me now? Sidanti, fail. Mama, my gatrani, limbs. My limbs are failing. It is not allowing me to stand. I can't be firm. So, Sidanti mama gatrani. Then, mukham, that's my mouth. Mukha generally means the face, but here you have to take it as my mouth. Cha and parishishyati, meaning it's parching, it is drying up. The whole mouth is drying up. Seeing my own relatives. So now Arjuna said, the simple meaning of this verse is, seeing these my kinsmen collected here, prompted by war, my limbs fail me, O Krishna, and my mouth is parched up. Now, the word Krishna, Arjuna is addressing, see, at different places we are seeing, Vyasa is using very selectively and very intelligently the names of the Lord and also name of Arjuna in a different way, then we can understand the situation. Here now, through the words or the mouth of Arjuna, the word Krishna is used. So everything has some meaning, you see. So the word Krishna, so we are all repeating the name of Krishna so many times. And even in the name of our Ishtadevata, Rama Krishna, there is Krishna. So shouldn't you know what is the meaning of Krishna? Then you can enjoy the name of Ramakrishna also. You can enjoy the chanting of the name too. So, Krishna generally has three meanings. So there you can go on expanding the name of Krishna with so many meanings. Let us see some important meaning here. Literal meaning is he who is dark in complexion. Krishna means he who is dark in complexion, indicating why is he dark, or why is he blue? What is that significance of black or blue? Now Ramakrishna himself in the gospel gives the example. What is that? Have you not seen the ocean in Durban? You can see the Indian Ocean. When you see from far off, what is the color of the ocean? In itself, the ocean doesn't have any color. Water doesn't, it is colorless. But when you see from far off, you see it as blue or dark blue or black in color, isn't it? But as you go nearby and take up the water and see it, doesn't have any color. But when you see from far off, you see it as dark or black. So literal meaning of Krishna is dark or black in color. So what is the meaning? The meaning we have to take here is indicating his infinite nature. Water, the Lord, when you see it from far off, it looks as if it is black. Mother Kali or Krishna or Vishnu, they're all black in color from far. If you go nearby, you don't see anything. Colorless means formless, attributeless. That shows infinity looks like that. That's all. When you are seeing God from far off, so that black or dark color indicates its infinite nature, Krishna. Then what is the second meaning? See, I am explaining, taking up that word Krishna and telling you because we'll be always repeating that name. You should know the meaning. Then you will enjoy while you repeat Krishna or Ramakrishna or whatever. What is the second meaning? Krish means existence. Na means bliss. He who is existence, bliss is Krishna. Okay? Then he who saves the devotees from distress is another name of Krishna. So there is also another important meaning of Krishna, that is Karshati iti Krishna. One who attracts our mind, one who attracts our heart towards him. Karshati iti Krishna. So these are all the beautiful meaning. Now, Arjuna is addressing him as Krishna, seeing these my kinsmen collected here, prompted by war, my limbs fail me, O Krishna, and my mouth is parched. Now, in the last session, we had taken up the discussion of the particular verses whereby we are seeing Arjuna earlier, who had sane mind and sane thinking, suddenly he is overpowered by attachment. In the last verse, you had studied, there the Vyasa Maharshi has used the words in that shloka that Arjuna was overpowered by that word kripaya paraya vishtaha. Here kripa means not compassion but attachment. I also gave you the difference between compassion and attachment. So now it is not kripa or compassion, but he was overpowered by attachment when he saw his tatra apashyan sthitan partha pitrun, his grandfathers, fathers, his brothers, his relatives, all so many varieties of relatives, the relations we came to know. That day I even went on explaining father, the meaning for father, and how many types of father are there, 5 types of father, all that meaning I gave. So seeing all of them, here you should see that he is overpowered by attachment. We have to identify. See, Krishna deliberately brought Arjuna and placed him in front of Bhishma, the great grandsire, his guru. They all loved him so much. So now, instead of fighting, something happened. He was overpowered by attachment. We have to identify Arjuna with yourself. Now, you put your shoes in the place of Arjuna. Don't be a witness. You become now Arjuna and start imagining. You have to imagine now Bhishma, Drona, he is seeing their face and his mind rushes back to his childhood days. How he played on the lap of his grandfather, great-grandfather Bhishma. So he used to show him so much love and affection. How your grandfathers, just imagine, they showed so much of affection. They carried you, they carried you on the shoulders, they fed you, all that thing now is coming back. They have told him stories, they have caressed him, they have kissed him. Intimate relationship was there until now. Whenever they met, so they must have been now doing all this, showing their affection to him each time. Now, here they have to, instead of exchanging affection and kisses and caressing nature, he had to exchange arrows. Just imagine what will be the condition of Arjuna. Now they are not meeting here to exchange affection, but arrows. So Arjuna is visualizing the consequences. Soon they are going to become victorious. How? Because Krishna is on their sides. So definitely he is confident that they are going to win the war. Imagine the future where Bhishma is dead. Drona, his great teacher, was so loving to him, is dead. And he goes home after the war. Home is empty. And he imagines the life without them. And suddenly now, his mind breaks down. So you can feel now, you yourself, whenever you have lost some people of yours, you will remember them, then you will start shedding tears. You will go to solitude or loneliness, then remembering them, you will start shedding tears. Why? You are overpowered by attachment. Now, just in another moment, they are going to fight and either of them will be killed. And he is confident that they are going to win and they all will be destroyed because Krishna is on their side. Now, after finishing the war, if I go back, where is Bhishma? Where are those affections showed by those, my grandfather, great-grandfather? And where will be Drona, the teacher who taught me so much? I'm going to kill them. So now, all that imagination started overpowering him. So that's why slowly you can see the change is happening. It is just imagination. Nothing in the truth. You are imagining future. That's all. There is no truth in this. You should clearly grasp it. There is no truth. It is just imagination. So this might happen, that might happen. You are thinking about the future. What will happen to me? So you will identify your ego with that situation and get into trouble. So I will just to make clear that thought. Recently when I was in the, seminar of gospel, I told them the story to make them understand how it is all our imagination, it is just thought. I told them the story. Though it is a repetition, I will tell it again because in particular situation or different situation, you can understand it and connect it to your life. Okay, I'll be a little fast so that though I have repeated it many times, we can connect it to this situation. A man who has gone out of his town comes back and finds that his house is on fire. It was one of the most beautiful houses in the town, and the man loved that house the most. Many were ready to give double price for the house, but he had never agreed for any price, and now it is just burning before his eyes. And thousands of people have gathered, but nothing can be done. The fire has spread so far that even if you try to put it out, nothing will be saved. So he becomes very sad, and he's crying, he's wailing, he's falling on the ground, and he's shouting, "My house is gone, my house is gone." Then suddenly his son comes running and whispers something in his ear. "Father, don't be worried. I sold that house yesterday at a very good price 3 times. The offer was good. I could not wait for you. You were out of the town, so I sold it without your permission. Sorry for that, but it is not our house. Forgive me, Father." Now suddenly was crying, wailing, worrying, whining, panting, falling on the ground, getting unconscious, waking up again, seeing that his own house, which he had built with so much of difficulties, on fire. The moment he told, "It is not our house, we have sold it," tears are gone. Smile came back to his face. he was so much wailing, and suddenly everything changed. How? Just few words and that thought. The thought changed the whole thing. But what is the father telling? Thank God it is not our house. Now. Then the father is relaxed. Relaxed now. And he became a silent witness, a watcher, just like other thousands of people who are watching that fire. All those people are watching it. See, you will be noticing yourself. In the news, there will be earthquake in Turkey or earthquake in some other place of Afghanistan. You will be watching on the TV. You are a witness. Then you will ask your father or mother or your sister or somebody to bring a coffee and you will some popcorn. So eating the popcorn, you will be watching it as if the people are dying, their dead bodies are being removed. You are a witness. You are not at all worried. You will be eating popcorn, seeing the death and other things. Why? Your ego is not identified there. But the moment in the news, they will tell some very close friend was there, your close friend. Then suddenly the whole scene changes. You'll keep the popcorn aside. Who was that friend? Who was that friend? Then suddenly some news might tell they were your relatives. Then the whole scenario changes. Then suddenly if they tell a very close relative of yours was there, then you're gone. Then you'll throw away the popcorn, tea, everything, and then you'll start crying. Why? What happened? Earlier you were a witness, you were eating popcorn on the death of those people and the destruction of that people, you were a witness, but suddenly how did it change? Because you will start identifying with that ego, I, ahankara, mamakara, that you can see here, situation. That's why I'm explaining this. So the father who saw he's watching now, enjoying the fire. His own house is on fire. He is enjoying like all other 100 people there. Thank God, it is not ours. Then the father is relaxed and became silent witness, just like all the other hundreds and thousands of people. Please think about it. Just a moment before, he was not a witness. He was not a watcher. He was attached. The same house, same fire, everything is the same. But now he's not at all concerned about it. In fact, even enjoying just as everybody else in the crowd. Then now the second son comes running and says to the father, Father, what are you doing? You are smiling and laughing. The house is on fire. The father said, don't you know? Your brother sold it. It's already sold. No, father, we have only taken the advance. It is not sold. The agreement has not been done. The lawyers will be knowing better legally. You have taken only the advance, that's all. It is not sold completely. The thing has not been done. Now, these words again change the situation. I doubt now that the man is going to purchase it now after the fire. Again, everything changes. Tears start welling up. How come? He was a witness enjoying the fire. Suddenly, the whole scenario changed. He's crying again. Now, father fell down on the ground, beating the ground, crying again, wailing, whining. The watcher is gone. The witness is gone. He's again attached. And again, the third son comes and he says that that man whom we are told who had given the advance, he's a man of words, he's a man of truthfulness. I just came from his house. He said, it doesn't matter whether the house is burnt or not. It's mine and I'm going to pay the price and which I have settled for. Neither you knew that there will be a fire, nor I knew it. So again, I'm going to give full money for it. Don't worry. That was the word. Now again, the smile and joy is back to the father. How come? See, you yourself will be identifying now with that situation, isn't it? Actually, nothing is changing. What changed here? It is the same fire, his own fire. The house is on fire. What changed now? The change was the feeling, the thought, just the feeling or the thought. I am the owner, I'm not the owner. I am the owner, I'm not the owner. Is changing the whole situation. That's called kartrutva, bhoktrutva in Sanskrit. Sense of agency, sense of doership. Just you are changing that. I'm the witness, I'm the owner. It's mine, it is not mine. Makes the whole difference. Now, the simplest methodology of watching the mind that you have nothing to do with it. Everything starts with a thought. All that you are suffering, all that you are enjoying is just not your thoughts many times. Your parents, your friends, the TV, the other newspaper gives you those thoughts. You get attached to that and get into trouble, either joy or into pain. It is just thought, your imagination. Everything is imagination. You see, with this example, you can understand. Again, Arjuna is also in the same way. So now, I told you the word used there, kripaya avishtaha, we should not use it as compassion. Kripa means here we have to take attachment. So now, we will hear few words of Ramakrishna himself telling about that. Sri Ramakrishna in the Gospel, he is telling, remember that daya, compassion, and attachment, maya. Ramakrishna uses the term for attachment as maya, are two different things. But we think they are same. No, Ramakrishna is telling, remember that daya, compassion, and maya, attachment, are two different things. Then further, going further, Ramakrishna tells attachment or maya means feeling of minus, ahankara, towards one's own relatives and kith and kin. You are identifying through your genes or your body or your birth with your relatives. That is ahankara, mamakara, and that is maya, that is attachment. It is the love one feels for one's own parents, one's own brothers and sisters, one's own wife and children. That is attachment. But Ramakrishna tells compassion is the love one feels for all living beings of the world. It is an attitude of equality. These are the words of Ramakrishna I'm just quoting here. It's the attitude of equality. Compassion is the love one feels for all beings of the world. It is an attitude of equality. If you see anywhere an instance of compassion, as in Ishvara Chandra Vidyasagar, know that it is due to the grace of God. Through compassion, daya, one serves all being. But note, Ramakrishna is telling, maya or attachment also comes from God. What is the use through that? Keeping the maya in the parents and in this thing, he will protect the children. The Lord is protecting the mother, getting that maya attachment to the child, she will take care of that child. The parents will take care and the children will take care of the father. So through maya, the family is taken care of. The Lord only keeps all this maya. But when instead of using that for that purpose, if you take it to the extremes, then that creates problem. You know, there is one great statement of Swami Vivekananda. Any good practice stretched to the extreme will become a positive evil. Any good practice, if stretched to the extremes, will become a positive evil. Not how did the terrorist organization start? Go back to any history of terrorist organization. It starts with a very good moral basis, protecting something. Then when it is stretched to the extremes, it becomes a positive evil. Everything. Go and study the history, you will come to know. So this is kept by Maya to protect the children, to protect the parents. But when people stretch it to the extreme, it becomes a positive evil. It will bind you. So know that it is to the grace of God that you will get compassion, daya. Maya also comes from God. Through Maya, God makes one serve one's own relative. Through Maya, through attachment, God makes one serves one's own relatives. But one thing should be remembered, Maya keeps us in ignorance, agnana. Maya will put more bondages. Say, bandhu, I gave you the example. What is the meaning of bandhu? Means relatives. Bandhana, it comes from the word rope, to tie you. It will tie you to that people. Bandhu, that comes from that word relation. So now it will tie down to this world, this Maya. It will create one more bondage and go deeper and deeper into the world. So Ramakrishna is telling one thing should be remembered, Maya or attachment keeps us in ignorance and entangles into this world. Whereas Daya, compassion, makes our heart pure and gradually it unties all the bonds, liberates you. And Ramakrishna himself gives an example. You see, today I am very much depressed. Hriday has written me a letter. He is very ill. Why should I feel dejected about it? Is it because of Maya or Daya? Ramakrishna is analyzing his own situation and asking us the question, is it Maya or Daya? Master Mahashay, the recorder of gospel, couldn't give the answer. Could not find suitable words for the reply and remained silent. Then Master told, do you know what is Maya? It is attachment to relatives, parents, brothers, sisters, wife and children, nephews and niece. Daya means love for all created beings. Watch yourself. Is that love coming out of my ego, my selfishness, or to only my relatives? Even if you love your relatives, father and mother, seeing God in them, then it changes the whole thing. That is why Ramakrishna gave you the highest dictum. What is that? Shivagnane Jiva Seva. How should you serve your father and mother and children and other things? Shivagnana, seeing God in them, if you serve, that will break the bondage. You be in the world, marry, have children, everything, samsara. But look through the angle of God, seeing God in them, serve them, then it will not bind you. The best example you can see, lock and key. Lock and key, you put the key into the lock and you turn clockwise. What will it do? It binds you. Isn't it? Locks. Turn that anti-clockwise, it will release you. Same vector, same force, energy, but direction is different. The same energy you have used, but clockwise in one direction it binds, in the opposite direction it releases. So if you think, connect with attachment that is to your ego, selfishness binds you. If you see God, direct it to the Lord in all the living beings, instead of just seeing your own relatives, it releases you. Now Arjuna, why did he fall into this attachment? Because until now he was seeing the army arrayed there to fight unrighteousness. They were all on the side of unrighteousness. I will teach them a lesson. Suddenly he sees his own kinsmen. Swajanam Krishna is telling Swajanam, my, I and my introduced. The whole thing changed, attachment, you see. That is to be noted here. So with the words of Master, we came to know what is Daya, what is attachment, the real meaning. So now we will see the condition of Arjuna. Now here we should remember that Arjuna developed attachment not just in the battlefield. Do you think that it got developed now? We have heard a statement in English. What is that? Last straw on the camel back. People think one straw was dropped on the camel and the camel fell down. Is it true? All the time they were loading luggage after luggage, luggage after luggage. it could withstand. But it was too much now. One last straw was put on it, it fell down. So people think that that straw made that thing to fall down. There is one nyaya in India, they call it maxim. What is that? Kakataliya nyaya. The branch of the tree was dried up and it was weak. Then suddenly a crow came and sat on that, and that branch broke down. And the crow started feeling, oh, see how great I am. Just I sat on that and it broke. So we also feel like that. See, it's coincidence. So here you have to notice, did that attachment start just now on the battlefield? No. Not that Arjuna developed attachment in the battlefield, but even before Arjuna had this attachment. But the problem was the attachment was not evident. It was slowly building up. Only in the battlefield, when the possibility of losing the object of attachment, only when the possibility of losing the object of your love comes, then alone the hidden attachment, the hidden intense love or that attachment surfaces. He had the disease, but it was not evident. It was in the incubation period. On the battlefield alone it surfaced, that's all. And that is why we find it extremely difficult to handle attachment, because often we do not know that we have that problem of attachment and therefore we are blissfully ignorant of it. There is no question of taking action against the problem because we are not aware of the problem. It is hidden. As long as it comes to the surface, so long it doesn't come to the surface, we are not aware of it. It's so powerful that I cannot take any action after it surfaces. Previously, because of ignorance, I do not take action. And when it surfaces, it is so powerful that I cannot take action. Like many of the addictions or diseases, like cancer or alcohol or the drug addiction, when it is growing inside, often the patient does not know that he has cancer or anything or some disease. They say if it is many doctors will say if the cancer is detected early, it can be cured. But cancer seems to be very intelligent. In the initial stages, one does not know that he has cancer. Therefore, we do not take action. And when it manifests, we cannot take action. It's too late. So it's a gradual build-up that we have seen here. So we will now go forward to see how Arjuna directs it to Krishna. As I told you, if you direct it towards yourself and start imagining, you will still go into bondage. If you direct it towards the Lord, then that attachment will be broken and the Lord will give you the direction. Now you see, Arjuna is directing all that towards Krishna. Oh Krishna, Drishtvevam, I'm seeing it. Swajanam Krishna, what shall I do? All these things are happening. So what a lesson we have to learn is, whenever you get the problems, the pain, please open up your heart to the Lord or your Guru. Then you will get the solution. See, everything is here. In Bhagavad Gita, you can find solution to many things. Don't keep it for yourself. Don't swallow it. The poison will go inside and destroy you. It will be there and it will be developing, and then it will burst out in the form of depression and so many other problems and diseases. So open up your heart. Don't suppress it. Just like Arjuna did it. Even though on the battlefield, he directed towards Krishna. Who was Krishna then? A charioteer. Did he tell that, oh, he's a charioteer, he's a driver, why should I tell that to the driver? No. So likewise, you have to open up your heart to people whom you revere, to your gurus, to the Lord. Even if the Lord doesn't speak, go sit in front of the image or the photograph of Sri Ramakrishna or Mother Sharda Devi or whoever Ishta Devata you have, Shiva or anybody. Open up your heart. That itself will be the first step. You see how he opened up his heart and what happened? Now he's telling Lord Krishna, Drishtvevam Swajanam Krishna. We just now chanted that verse. Oh Krishna, now I have seen that Having seen the relatives of mine who are assembled eager to fight, my limbs droop, my mouth dries up, shiver and horripilation occurs in my body. My Gandiva, the great bow, slips from the hand and the skin burns. I'm not able to stand, even my mind also reels, as it were, O Krishna. I see only adverse omen. Now, there is one word, my mouth dries up, mukancha parishushyati. My mouth is drying up because of the fear of losing all my kith and kin. On the contrary, in the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there comes a situation whereby somebody wanted to test the control, self-control of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great saint. So they put the sugar on the tongue of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What happened? It dried up. It became like a charcoal, dried up. The sugar dried up. What will happen if you put the sugar or some sweet or which you like on your tongue? It salivate and it will start melting that sweet and you will start eating it. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had so much of control that when they put that sugar on his tongue, it instead of salivating, it dried up. Same situation, you see. Arjuna's also mouth is drying up. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's this thing also drying up. But the difference is ocean-like. Here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of self-control, he could control his indriya. But Arjuna, no control. That is the difference. Here, the emotion is controlling him. See, just imagine now. Don't go to the kitchen and get that thing. Imagine pickle, the best pickle you like. Take it, bring it near your mouth. Don't put it on your tongue. Just imagine that you're bringing the pickle near your nose. You start smelling it. Can you see your mouth salivating? Something coming in the mouth, isn't it? See, it's not in a control. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a saint, he had so much of control. Even when the sugar was put on his tongue, it dried up. But here, it's the reverse thing. Arjuna's mouth is also drying up. Why? Out of fear. So here, that's why Kripaya Paraya Vishra, the attachment, emotion has overtaken him, overpowered Arjuna. There, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had the control of his sense. At will, he could do it. So that is the difference now. We will study the things happening in the body and mind of Arjuna. Why should it mouth dry up? Why should its feet start shaking? Why should the bow fall down from the hand? He has seen only the grandsires and other relatives. Why should it happen to his body? What is the connection? His mind is reeling. Why? Why is it happening? Now, moha. First is attachment. See, these are all syndrome. I told you, disease. The first disease is attachment, that is raga. The offshoot or the child of that raga is sorrow. From deep sorrow, the next step is, byproduct is moha, delusion. You will think right as wrong, wrong as right, righteousness is unrighteousness. Everything will become totally confused. Delusion, moha. So he has got moha. Now, from raga, attachment, he has gone to shoka. Then shoka, thereafterwards, he has got into the mode of delusion. This is not only Arjuna's problem, this is a universal problem. Only the object of attachment varies. The problem of attachment is universal. And here, Vyasa, Acharya, the Rishi wants to show that since attachment was intense for Arjuna, the grief also, sorrow was also intense. And when the mind is intensively afflicted, the suffering will overflow into the physical body. And it will be shown out as the symptoms. Otherwise, you can control it. If the attachment and the sorrow is less, you can overpower it or control it. But when it becomes intense, you can't control, it will come out in the form of all these symptoms. So you can see the attachment. You can just thought, just it was a thought and imagination. This might happen in the future. They are not dead. You should know that Bhishma is also not dead. Oh, nobody has been killed. It is just a thought. It's just an imagination. It might happen in future. That's why I give the example of that burning of the house. Just imagination. All our problems is all imagination. We suffer, we pain, everything is all because of this imagination. You see, thought. So because that was intense, now it is spreading to the body and he can't control it. He is intensively afflicted. If it was ordinary, he could have covered it up. So we will keep only in our mind, and outwardly we can pretend as though everything is fine. When it is less intense, we can even show a smiling face. They will be feeling the pain inside, but outwardly they will show the smile. But now he can't. Since Arjuna's sorrow was intense, it begins to show at the physical level. And therefore Arjuna says, Hey Krishna, O Lord, imam swajanam drishtva. I'm seeing my own kith and kin people who are all my relatives. I'm seeing these people who are all my relatives. That means I belong to them, they belong to me. This is called the problem of ahankara and mamakara, that is attachment. So we have got a sense of belonging. I belong to someone and someone belongs to me. The sense of belonging is called attachment. In some of the earlier thing, I have taken up that attachment and told you the psychological, emotional dependence upon people, different people and different things is called attachment. The psychological dependence, the emotional dependence upon different people, whether it may be father, mother, grandfather, grandparents, kaka, kaki, mama, mami, brother, sister, wife, husband, children, the psychological dependence or emotional dependence upon people and things, mobile, iPad, computer, or some addictions, all these things. The psychological, emotional dependence upon people and things is attachment. So now, when that becomes intense and diffuse, everything that you depend upon, thing or people on this earth is impermanent. Nothing is permanent. You will lose it, whatever you do, because everything is impermanent. So now it will start worrying what will happen if my wife gets sick, if my wife dies, or husband dies, husband gets sick, if the child gets sick, or if something happens to the child, if he goes out into drug addiction, that and this, imagination, attachment, worry. All that worry, you see, some of the mother, of the father sitting there, they'll be sitting blank and gazing at the sky. They will be eating food. They do not know what they are eating, sticking something. Attachment. It's all imagination. So same thing you can see. Oh Lord, imam swajanam, these my people. Note this word repeated several times in the first chapter. This is the crucial word for the first chapter. Swajanam, my people, mine, mine. There is nothing wrong in claiming some people as yours. After all, we are all worldly people. We belong to the world. So someone belongs to us, when we belong to someone, it's fine. But when the sense of belonging becomes attachment, when the attachment begins to cloud the intellect, we begin to confuse between right and the wrong, dharma and adharma. Until now, Arjuna said that on the opposite side, there was Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana. They were all durbuddhehe, evil people. See now how it changes. Earlier this was perhaps he was biting the teeth to kill all of them, punish them. These people are terrible people. They have all joined the side of Duryodhana. I'm going to finish them off. That was the attitude. And suddenly now he sees those people as his own kith kith and kin. So the whole thing is changing, and now Arjuna has slipped from the intellectual level to the emotional level. Therefore, instead of calling them adharmic, unrighteous people, now he is calling them his own people, his relatives. That means that if your own relatives do unrighteous thing, it's okay. If other people, not your relatives, if they had committed this sin, what would you have done? You would have gone and punished them. But when it's your relatives that they have done it, you will forgive it. So is it right? That is happening to Arjuna now. We all do that. When the neighboring child does a small mistake, we find fault and criticize or punish that child. But my own child does the gravest of mistake, I forgive it. I want to shield that child. How is that? So you can see now the same condition in Arjuna. Earlier he told they were all unrighteous. They were doing adharmic. They were villains. I want to punish them. Now suddenly when he identifies with this relationship, the whole thing has changed. So that's how we are all caught up in this world. So we will study further. It is very, very important thing in our life. So we have to make a deeper study. So everything is based on thought. Everything is based on imagination. When the sense of belonging comes, then all the problems starts. But now Arjuna has slipped from intellectual level, mind level, rational level to emotional level. So he started everything looking from a different perspective as his own people, and now he starts advising Krishna. Oh Krishna, why should we kill them? I will become a sannyasin. I will go away. Then he also sees the omen. Nacha shaknyom avastatum brahmativa chame manaha gandivam samsrastate hastat tvakchaiva pariduhyate nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. Now because of that Arjuna attachment, although he was not aware of the problem until he came to the battlefield, when he stood in front of those people towards whom he had intent attachment, and when he thought of the possible loss of those people, that imaginary loss makes his attachment stronger, and therefore now all the problem begins. This is being described as the attachment leads to sorrow and later to delusion, and from that all that disease and the problem and the pain and the misery starts. There, the word kripa, we have to not get confused as daya or compassion. Now, one more thing which we have to note here is Ramakrishna also, many times he tells about it, that live in the world like a maid servant. When this problem of attachment comes, how to come out of it? When people used to ask him, how are we to live now? Should we not love our kith and kin? How can we overcome this attachment? So Ramakrishna used to gives the example, beautiful example of live in the world like a maid servant. The maid servant will look after the master's or the owner's children as if it were her own. She will take, she will fondle, she will give the bath, she will clean them, she will feed them. But once the master or the house owner gives her the slip, now you are out of work, you can go somewhere else, she will just forget about the children and goes to another house and starts looking after those children like her own children. She is not attached. But now she behaved as if they were all her own. She will look after the owner's house, that wherever she is working, as if they are her own children. But the moment she knows that, any time the master may tell, enough, you can go to some other house, then she is ready, bag and baggage, no attachment at all. So likewise, Ramakrishna tells, you should know, just like the maid knows that her real house is somewhere in the village, her real children are there, likewise you should tell, you have come here temporarily to this world. You should live like that maid servant. But you should know you belong to God. God is the only permanent entity. These are impermanent, you have to give up. So this teaching had gone so deep into the mind of Master Mahashay Mahendranath Gupta. I recently read an incident when how Mahendranath Gupta was practicing it. When once Mahendranath Gupta, after passing away of Master, or Master gave up his body in Mahasamadhi, he was quite old. He came to his house in Calcutta. On the 4th floor, he climbed up. Another person, his sevak, his secretary, or the one who was looking after him, attendant, was there. It was late at 10:30. This attendant told, I will wake up your wife and she will cook for you because you are hungry. It is 10:30, you have not taken any food. I'll wake up your wife. So let her cook food and then feed you. Told, no, please don't wake her up. Let us sleep. Why? Wife will do it, that she will be happy to cook for you and feed you. No. Let me practice the teaching of Sri Ramakrishna. What is that? Master has asked all of us householders to lead or live life in the world like a maid servant. How can the maid servant make the mistress of the house to cook and feed me? Wake her up. It was the question asked by Master Mahasaya. Master has asked me to live in this world like a maid servant. How shall I ask, if I am a maid servant, how shall I ask the mistress of the house to wake up at the late hour and ask her to cook? Then what will you do? Let us go to that restaurant there. He bought some hot milk and some bread and ate it and slept. Don't disturb them. I'm practicing what Master had told. See, we have to put the teachings, whatever we learn, into practice in our day-to-day life. Learn a little, no problem. Take up one idea. Live on it. Think on it. Let that enter into your veins and every part of your body. You should think on it. So take up 1 or 2 ideas. Practice it. That's very, very important than just reading Bhagavad Gita chapter after chapter, but not putting it to practice. So that suddenly I remembered how Master Mahasaya put that wonderful teaching which Master gave. Live like a maid servant. If I'm a maid servant, how can I make them work? What a wonderful. You need not imitate it. Put that, inculcate that teaching in your own way and practice it in a way that is suitable to you. That is more important. I think we will stop our conversation here with the chanting of one verse, because I took more time to tell that because it's very, very practical and it's very, very useful for our life. So I had to go into the details, make it more practical. That's why Swami Vivekananda used to tell Bhagavad Gita is practical Vedanta. He uses the term practical Vedanta. It is not just to hear from this ear and give up in the other ear. It should be put in. It can be, if Arjuna could put it, that teaching of Krishna to practice on the battlefield, the most active place on the earth can be battlefield. No more, nowhere will you find any other place more active than battlefield. If the teachings of that great teachings of Krishna could be put into practice on the battlefield, can't we put that wonderful teaching in the kitchen for the housewife, for the homemaker? It can be put into practice by the people in the office. You can put it in your workplace. You can put it while you are driving. You can put it into practice everywhere. Then it will be fruitful. Otherwise, if you don't put it into practice, then it's a waste. So that's very, very important. Practical Vedanta. Om Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Paramanandamadhavam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.